Hello guys. Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to the sew along for the Carrie Trousers. Oh, that iron looks enormous there. Turn it down. Hi guys, I hope you all had a lovely weekend. I had a really nice restful one with Jazzy at the cottage. Morning Lorianne, morning Kim, hi Sarah, which was really nice. And you'll see that I am here back at my place in London. I am actually living at the cottage, but I am in London because we are now having to use my place in London for work. So, hi guys. Yes, so yeah, we've bubbled up the team and we only have one workspace at the moment for the Lisa Comfort Home team and also Sew Over It team. So we're using my place to have meetings. So I'll be here today, this week, working from here. Yeah, so you'll be seeing me from here. I know it's sometimes quite confusing to know where I am, but that's where I am. I'm in our new meeting venue. But I hope you all had lovely weekends. Nice to see you all popping up there and saying hi. Continue to do that. Today we're making the Carrie Trousers. And, oh, Cremmy, hi, hello. Today we're making the Carrie Trousers. And tomorrow we are making the Dandelion Dungarees, which is a brilliant gift idea, which is why we thought we would do it, and it's our most popular poppy and jazz pattern. And then on Wednesday I thought I'd wear it so you guys know what we would be doing. We're doing a headscarf, so something really simple for our simple sew along for the week. So it's this headscarf that I'm wearing. Thanks guys, I've got on, but I know some of you sometimes want to know what I'm wearing. So I'm wearing our pussy bow blouse in this lovely army colour. The headscarf we'll be making together, and then this is my cardigan from Lindex, which is my second favourite place to buy knitwear. It's either Lindex or it is Cezanne. Oh, hello from the New Forest. Oh, hi guys. So yep, well, let's see where we've got people joining us from today. We've got, I've seen some things pop up. We've got the New Forest. We've seen that. I know that I've spotted some names and I know where you guys live. Tell us all, who's tuning in? We've got Aberdeenshire, wonderful. South Africa, amazing. Cape Town, oh, Kent, Derby, Northumberland. Oh, I love seeing all of these places. Yeah, the power of technology. Oxford, Newcastle upon Tyne. Oh, West Yorkshire. Oh, somewhere in Australia, Tambourne Mountain. Wow, that sounds amazing. Lands in Michigan, Lisbon, Sweden, London. Oh, well, and Surrey, St. Louis. Wonderful. Wow, guys. France, we've got another person in France. Cold Liverpool, Ireland, Lincolnshire, Finland, Surrey, Brazil. Oh my goodness. No, Brazilian girl in Winnipeg, sorry. Milton Keynes. Oh, well guys, I hope some of you will be sewing along with me today, whether you're sewing along Carrie Trousers or whether you're going to be making something else. We'll see. Remember guys as well, I keep forgetting to talk about the hashtag. I can't even remember, I think it's been a while since I've talked about it, but the sew along hashtag, I think it's hashtag SOI sew along. I'm sure Rosie, who's online as well to answer your questions, will confirm that. But do, if you have made anything for along with me on the sew alongs, then do tag us in it, because it's always lovely to see what people have been making as well. And don't forget that at the end of every month, or often works out at the start of the following month, there'll be a makes video, a pre-recorded makes video of all the makes that we have been making together. Oh, thank you, Deirdre. Yep. Oh, it's stay home and sew along. Okie dokes. Fab for all the sew along makes, guys. Stay home and sew along. But yeah, I'll be putting up a makes video so you can see all of the finished things, because I think it's really lovely to be able to see the finished things that we started together. Also, now live, before I start, is the big Christmas sew. So I've talked about it a lot, guys. It is now live. You can buy yourself a ticket. If you're on the mailing list, you would have found out about it at the weekend. I think we've only just put it up on Instagram, on other social media this morning. But if you want to join in on our big Christmas sew-along, then you can buy a ticket for that. It's £5 and we'll be making a garland and we'll all be able to see each other because we're going to do it. It's through Zoom. So we're using a third-party company to sell the tickets. Oh, thank God, that's lovely. And then so we can all actually see each other, and I'm so excited about this. And the Sew Over It team are going to be joining along too. Yeah, I'm hoping to see some really fab festive makes. I'm panicking actually, because I'm like, what have I got? I think I've still got my Georgie dress from last year that I wore to a party. I think it was to the new craft house party. I made a like really fab Georgie dress with that, so I think I might be wearing that. But yeah, Rosie, have you got your festive make? Oh yes, Sarah, you need to be wearing that tartan Charlotte. Ooh, or maybe we're going to have something to make. Yeah, maybe we've got time now, guys. We've got time before we make it. So yeah, let's see Rosie, I'll put her on the spot now. What's she going to be wearing? Could also have I don't think we won't have our pattern out, will we, for December? So I was thinking, I could also make that, but I'm not. You haven't yet? Thinking about making something with the new lovely green velvet. Oh yes, that velvet is gorgeous. Guys, we have some gorgeous velvet in that you may have seen it pop up on the grid, but we made a Georgie dress for our lovely new model Hildy, and she just looks fab. She's a redhead and she just looks gorgeous in it. That is definitely a good one. Right guys, let's get started with the actual sewing and less of the waffle. So I am making my Carrie trousers out of, I wanted to do something different, guys, for you, out of Roma Ponte. This gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous Roma Ponte, which is exactly the same Roma Ponte as my heather dress that I made. So I'm gonna, we basically wanted to have a go at this because we've talked about how we think they'd be really good comfy trousers to be wearing at home at the moment. Makes a difference makes a change from leggings, doesn't it? For those of you that are well into the legging gang at the moment. And yeah, this is my second favourite colour of this Roma Ponte. I think we've also got it in navy, yeah. Oh, Rosie's sharing the green jersey velvet, stretch velvet. Don't buy it all though, Rosie said, because she hasn't yet bought some for herself. So yes, we thought it'd be really nice just to give it a whirl and see this. Now, this Roma Ponte is lovely because it's a certain structure to it that it's not too stretchy. So you can see there how it's behaving. It's not overly stretchy, so we know that it's not going to completely lose its shape. You could, by all means, work with something slightly lighter, but we can't promise that it's going to be it's going to work, because we haven't tried it in a lighter weight jersey, but we're guinea pigging it for you guys in this. So I've got my front leg. I'm just going to take those off. Got my notches cut in already. So I'll just put this over there. So we are going to get going with that in a second. But I wanted to talk about what things we might do slightly differently if we were making these trousers out of jersey, because they're meant to be made out of woven fabric, typically a rayon or a crepe. So we are going a little bit off on a tangent here with this, but that often is the way. You can make certain woven patterns out of knit. You just need to think about if there's anything extra you need to add into the construction to help them work. So we've been thinking about what those things could be. We certainly think if you were using a lighter weight jersey, you'd want to definitely use a stretch interfacing on the waistband just to allow for a bit more stability there. You also, you might find that when we press in the pleats, they're a bit bouncy and you might have to stitch them down and do a bit of top stitching to stitch them down. Although I'm hoping that with this fabric, we can just do a nice steam press, so we'll see. And then one thing that I'm definitely going to be doing is I'm going to be using this. We've been using this a lot in our sew-alongs. It's our interfacing tape, which has got the chain stitch down the middle of it. And I'm going to use this just to stabilise the pocket edge, because the pocket edges, so that's these pocket pieces here, if we don't need to if we're going to use it out of jersey, what might happen with putting hands in and out of pockets is they're going to stretch. So that would then distort that shape. So what this will do is it will keep the shape so that they don't end up stretching and then end up being kind of like rounded, kind of gapey pockets at your hip, which won't look very flattering. So that's what I'm going to do first, which is why I've got the iron up on here already. Just so you know, I am making a size 10, I believe. Slightly, yes, I'm making a size 10. Rosie kindly cut this out for me, so I'm just checking. And we decided that we weren't going to, normally at the moment for my bottom, we need to grade it up to a 12, but we decided not to do that because of the ease. We reckon that there's, because the ease in the fabric, that it will be fine and it will be snug enough. So that's the kind of change we're making. But that's, I think if you were definitely, so I'm sort of in between, in the bum area, in between a 10 and a 12, and we thought, well, we'll be fine. If you were definitely, though, the size 12, then you obviously need to cut for that. But I think you've got a little bit more room. If you're in between the sizes, you could make something the smaller size just because we've got that stretch in the fabric. Right. Okay, so I'm going to place the tape here down this edge. So I'm going down the diagonal edge here, which will be the edge of the pocket. This will be where you're putting your hand in and out. That's the bit that we're worried about stretching. So I've cut my lengths already, and because I had the pattern pieces still on the fabric, what I could do is I could stop, I could cut it exactly the length of the patterns, and then I know it's the right size. Okay. I think Rosie's putting some more information up, guys, about sizes and what size to cut and things. Okay, and then the same on this one. Just checking that I'm using the right side, not the wrong side. Whoopsie daisies. And there we go. I don't want to have all that steam on there, but there we go. Okay, so they are now fused on, and that will mean, look, I'm trying to stretch it, it's not going to stretch any more than that. That's nice and stable, and that will help it keep its shape. So, what to do, what to take off. Let's just do the pinning first, and then I get the machine up. So what we're going to start with on these are taking the fronts, and one at a time, and we're going to attach the pocket facing along that edge. So you can see we've got that diagonal edge there, okay, and that lines up with the diagonal edge on your pocket facing. So we're going to place it right sides together. Can you see if I pull it down here? In fact, let me take this off, and then I've got more table space to be able to show you guys a bit more. Okay, so there we go. So this edge here, so placing that right sides together. Okay, and then we're just going to pin that. Actually, I'm just thinking we need to turn it this way because I'll be sewing from the top down. Always think about that, guys. I know I waffle on about that a lot, but always think about how you're going to have it on the sewing machine. Are you going to be going from, making sure that you're going from the top to the bottom of the garment? We always generally work in that logical order in dressmaking, and you want to then think about where all the extra fabric will be. It needs to be on the left of the machine. I might as well pin both of them. So there we go, you can see it there from that side. That's what we've done there. This is the pocket facing. So that's that leg. I'll do the other leg. Okay, there we go. Again, right sides together, lining it at the top edge, and there are a pair of notches to line up about here as well. To say, guys, I'm so used to seeing myself in this camera. Obviously what I see is myself coming back to you so I can see the comments. I'm just saying I'm enjoying wearing my headscarf. So thank you guys for giving me a reason to wear it again. I go through phases of my headscarves. I have a box of them upstairs in my bedroom, and it's in a cupboard, so I don't always see them when I'm getting ready, or I don't see them, so I forget about them, but I do love them. And at the moment I'm thinking about growing my hair out. I think just because at the moment it seems to be like, it's so hard going back and forth to the hairdressers. I've been to the hairdressers once since in this whole year. You'll remember my disastrous haircut that I did at home in lockdown. I've since then been once, but my hairdresser wasn't able to cut, so somebody else cut it. I didn't really like how they cut it. And so now I'm thinking, oh, maybe I should just grow it out and it'd be easier. But anyway, headscarves help in between stages of not being able to get to the hairdressers. Right. So it's quite a good time to be doing it, guys, because we're all in the same position, aren't we, at the moment? Although I'm sure some of you will have raced to the hairdressers before. Before lockdown number 2 kicked in. Okay, so seam allowance. Bet you can guess it. Or if we've got any newbies here, I'm not going to assume you know. So it's 1.5 centimetres, 5/8 of an inch. If you're in Imperial. That's generally our seam allowance for most of our patterns at Sew Over It. We generally use 1 centimetre at necklines just so it's easier to navigate around a curve of a neckline if it's a smaller seam allowance. And that's pretty much a standard rule. So, hello Marilyn, hi. So I'm going to line up with my 5/8 marker there. I've realised, guys, though, in my kind of chattiness, I should have probably put this interfacing slightly further over. But anyway, it is what it is. It's not, it's still, you know, it's on the edge, but the chain stitching really should be a bit further over. I should also say stitch, I'm not going to use that tiny little zigzag that we had last week. That was a nightmare, wasn't it? Ate up the machine, it wasn't feeding through. I'm going to use a zigzag stitch, and I'm going to pop it on the recommended, so stitch length around 2 and then stitch width about 1, and then that will be nice and neat, which is what we generally recommend you use when you're working with knit fabrics. But yeah, sorry, I should have said, I think when I was thinking, oh, it's a pocket, so the seam allowance is less, but it's not. So yeah, this ideally should have been a little bit further over, but never mind. It will still work because we're going to understitch this seam afterwards, so it's still going to add that stability we need to stop it from gaping. Okay, so that's one done. Over to the next. So what I'm hoping we're going to do today is we're going to be able to finish the pockets and also put in the pleats in the front. That's what I'm hoping for. So we're not going to get to the waistband, unfortunately, because that is a bit further down the line. But if just thinking about the waistband, guys, if you are making it out of jersey like this, is you'll want to use less elastic that goes around the back of the Carrie Trousers, because you've got that flat piece to keep it flattering and flat against your tummy, and then we've got the pieces that go around the sides and the back that's gathered with elastic. But you'll probably find that with this you won't need as much elastic because you've got give in the fabric. So just be aware of that, and you need to check and try it on really anyway. When you do that, check the elastic. I'm very excited about these, guys. I'm already thinking about what I can wear with them, because I've got that Alice top. I think I've worn it on a Sewalong, but I can't remember. But I've got an Alice top that's in this really lovely, it's like a leopard print, but it's a dark bottle green, very similar to this. And then it's got the black kind of leopard print design on it. And yeah, I think that would be really fab combination. Oh, but I'll wear one, guys. I'll be wearing it next month when they're finished. So yeah, we've got the wonderful Layla finishing off my makes for me this month, but we've also got some samples to be sewing, so I'm not sure where she's at with everything. Keeping her very busy, we are. Right, so we're going to come to the understitching. Hello Teresa, hi, nice to see you. We're coming to the understitching now, and I always think with understitching, if it's not a particularly stretchy edge, so if it's not a neckline, or if it's something that's like down the straight of the grain, then you could press your seam allowance towards the towards the facing or towards the pocket or towards, you know, whatever inside part of the garment, and then do your understitching. But I'm not going to do that with these, because when you press before you've understitched, there's another opportunity for things to stretch a bit too much. So instead I'm going to finger press it. So I'm going to make sure that this seam allowance is going this way, and then I'm going to really press down on it like that. Okay. Okie dokie, and then we're going to move the needle over to the right. Okay, so we want to make sure when we're understitching we're about 2 or 3 millimeters from the seam. And the purpose of understitching, I'm going to put it on a straight stitch for this, I think. The purpose of understitching is to help the facing sit inside better. Okay, so I'm just using my fingers here just to smooth it to the right, to keep that pressed over, and make sure that everything's all the way over. Everything is sitting flat. Let me show you how that's looking. It just really does crisp it up. Can you see? Okay. I did do the understitching there in a straight stitch, and I used a long stitch length. Now, I don't know if that is the right thing to do, but for me, I just thought that really I wanted to add a bit more stability in the understitching. But Rosie, do you have thoughts on that? Because it might be one of those things that I just do because that's what I think is right, but I'm sure there's lots of opinions on this. Because what some of you might say, well then, I guess you could, why did you zigzag the first seam? And that's true, you didn't have to zigzag that, but I kind of feel like the combination of the zigzag and then the understitching is giving you a little bit of give, but also keeping it pretty structured. But let's see what Rosie thinks. Putting you on the spot a lot today, aren't I, Rosie? Okay, let's do the other one. Okay, I'm going to be working this time from the bottom up, which I know we always just been saying we want to generally work from the top down, but with an understitch it doesn't really, it's fine. And I know it's all stabilised here, so I'm not worried about it. I do what you've done, I think, Lisa. Okay. Yeah, exactly. Okay, glad. But sometimes I think the thing is with, you know, certainly with Rosie and I, you know, there's elements that we've learned from people who have trained. There's elements that we've learned from, well, I've learned from college about my sewing, and there's elements that I've learned from you know, people here at Sew Over It. And there's elements that I've just sort of done what I think's right. And I think what happens when you've done a lot of dressmaking, what happens is it just almost becomes subconscious, and that's something that I've really realised doing these sew-alongs, because obviously I'm having to tell you what I'm doing, and sometimes what I'm doing I don't always know. You know, it's not that I don't know what I'm doing, but it's just because that's what I feel is the right thing to do. And when you actually try and explain it, it's like, oh well, actually then that doesn't really make logical sense, but it's a feeling. And I think that, you know, all fabrics are different, and some fabrics I wouldn't do that. Some fabrics I could see that it probably would need to have a zigzag in it, but because this ponte works, like I know how the structure of this ponte works and how it's stable and where it needs that and not, and doesn't need it, that's what I did. But it's not helpful, is it, if you're learning to sew and there's not always a really obvious answer, because I know, you know, when you're learning about anything, you want to be given a set of rules and a set of guidelines so you can follow it. But just like with cooking, there is an element of sewing that's just, you have to feel it, and you know, there isn't any way, you know, there's a certain amount of flair to it. Not all the time, but there is a certain percentage where you just have to have a go. But yeah, anyway, there's food for thought for a discussion one day. Right, we need to press that now that we've understitched there. One thing that I'm planning, or we're planning rather, for next year with Stitch School, we're going to be doing more and more on Stitch School. And what we're planning is that we will be moving some of these sew-alongs over to Stitch School. I think we'll probably do one a week that's not on Stitch School, but we'll probably be moving a lot to them, because obviously, as I'm sure you understand, there's a lot of work involved, and we don't feel